Yo, YouTube, what's going on, people? I love you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm so happy that I have a growing number of people who really resonate with the stuff I'm talking about, because I'm sure you guys have noticed there's not that many of us out there. There's a whole lot of people who are just kind of robotically going through life and da-da-da-da-da. Not a lot of people that are really questioning things and making massive lifestyle changes and having the courage to step into like a whole new way of life, and especially to do it like in front of people. Because I'm sure you've noticed this, if you've ever gone through a massive transformation in your life, there's like a certain amount of people that are going to be really stoked for you when it's a positive transformation, and there's a certain amount of people that are like, they look at you funny, because a lot of people don't want to change. It's like, whether they're doing something good or they're doing something bad, they're afraid of what people are going to think if they were to do some like radical change. Speaking of, by the way, my hair's all gone. Wearing this beanie because I like it. But yeah, I chopped all my hair off. Shout out to Subconscious. He had I got to tell you this story before I get into the topic, because this is crazy. So I was seriously thinking about chopping it off. I knew I was going to do it, I just didn't know when. And my boy Seb sent me a text message in the morning. He's like, dude, I had this crazy dream, super vivid. I saw you and you had like really short hair. And I was like, that's funny, because I was seriously thinking about chopping it off. And I have a homie in town who's a really great barber. He's a really great friend of mine. He's also a retainer. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna hit up my homie and see if he can chop my hair off. So I'm walking down the street with my phone in my hand, about to text homie, hey, when do you have time to cut my hair? And then I hear, hey, Tim. And I turn around and there he is. Straight up, no joke. And I'm like, dude, I was literally about to text you to see if you could cut my hair. And he's like, I'm about to cut my homie's hair. We're about to have breakfast. You want to come with, and then I'll cut your hair? I was like, okay. And then, so he chops it, gives me a nice fade. It spends about an hour. We're talking about like real shit. Afterwards, I'm like, all right, dude, thank you so much. What do I owe you? And he would not let me pay. It's just getting more and more like this, you guys. The more I stick to the program, the more I stay obedient, the more I stay on retention and disciplined and focused and putting God first in my life, the more everything just kind of falls into place naturally. Like, it's getting to a point where I just don't really have to try anymore. I mean, all I have to try to do is keep God first, right? It's that simple. And everything else falls into place. Like, it's when you have things in the correct order, everything else falls into place, man. You can't put God second, third, fourth, fifth. It has to be number one. It has to be ahead of the women, ahead of the money, ahead of your ego, ahead of your pride, ahead of your finances, everything, right? And when God's first, that means that you trust that all of those things are going to happen naturally, because God's in control, all right? We're not in control. We have a little bit of control. You know, we can choose whether to put God first or not. You know, it's like that's really how much control we have. When we put God first, man, everything falls into place. It's a beautiful process. So, speaking of God, the topic for this video, you guys, I think this is something really important, and it was brought to mind to me today because I came outside to do my ritual sunbathing and sun gazing in the morning. But today, there's a lot of weird stuff in the sky. All right. I don't want to get into too much detail because I don't want to get my channel chopped for talking about certain subjects. I've had that happen before, so I've learned my lesson. But let's just say there's some weird things that go on in the sky these days. And if you are somebody who pays attention, you've noticed that a lot of days the clouds just don't look right. They don't look like they used to, okay? There's a lot of extreme weather events happening, and the news won't shut up about it. Fear. Be afraid, all right? So what I've noticed here, and this is a very important message I felt very strongly called to share with you guys, okay? So really, the crux of this deal, you guys, we talk about the enemy here. We talk about the adversary. We talk about the devil, okay? So you can't talk about God without also acknowledging that God has this force of resistance against him, this rebellious fallen angel who seeks to copy everything he does and take credit for everything he does and lure all of his children into his synthetic matrix simulation creation thing. All right, so that's really the essence of what's going on. So naturally, there's synthetic stuff going on that should be natural, right? Like there's God's creation, which includes natural weather systems, and then there's the Matrix's copycat version of it, and they're always trying to figure out how to control this stuff. All right, that's really happening. But the message I want to share with you guys about all of this stuff, so if you get into the varying, there's a lot of debates that go on about this. There's a lot of gaslighting, and the gaslighting goes both ways, you guys. There's people that say, oh, they're manipulating the weather, right? And then they will gaslight people that say they're not. And then the people that say they're not will gaslight the people that say that they are. And so what I see is two sides of the same coin. Either side you're on, it's the same shit. Because either you're afraid of the government and whatever they're doing, or you're afraid of natural disasters. See what I mean? Either way, it's fear-driven and it's division. It's all division. It's just to keep us at odds with each other, right? And to keep us in fear. Because when we're in fear, we can't think clearly. And you know what else happens when we're in fear? There's this thing, fight, flight, or freeze, okay? So they'd love for us to be fighting with each other. They'd love for us to be running from things. And they'd really love us to be frozen, right? What are these lockdowns? What's this all about? They don't want us traveling. They don't want us starting businesses or starting families or embarking on new journeys. They don't want us having hope for the future. They want to cram all that shit down. They want to shut that down, right? They clearly want to lower the population. I mean, they say that out loud all the time. So how do you think they're going to achieve that? Well, they're going to achieve it through getting us afraid. They've already conditioned so many people to think, well, what's the point? The world's going to hell in a handbasket. What's the point? And then you've even got the believers, the Christians, like the rapture people, who are like, well, the rapture's coming. It's the end of days. So what's the point? It's like, dude, you have fallen into the same trap that the so-called, the crazy liberals or whatever. It's all the same. Whether you're on the far right or the far left, you're the same. It's the same shit. So, you guys, the way we fight this battle, all right? And this is something I'm guilty of it. I was one of those people that was like shouting it from the rooftops. You guys, the billionaires are trying to kill us. Okay, maybe they are, but guess what? There's very few of them, and there's a whole lot of us. And everything that they do depends on us being afraid and losing hope. So if we want to defeat these people, what we need to do is be unafraid and have hope and be optimistic. So it's like, old me, for example, on a day like today, I'd be pissed because they're blocking out the sun and I can't do my thing. But I'm not pissed, dude. I'm happy. I'm happy because I have developed and cultivated a level of spiritual and mental strength that allows me to maintain my level of joy, peace, contentment, and happiness despite what's going on around me in the sky or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why? Because God's in control. God is good. God is my shepherd, and I shall not want or fear or any of that stuff. That's just how it works. But in order to get really, really grounded in that way of being, we have to follow certain rules because God is lawful and just and fair. Imagine a lawless society, right? Imagine if there were no rules. Imagine if energy didn't return to its source. Imagine if you could just steal, lie, cheat, kill, whatever, and get away with it, right? We would have total chaos. Somehow, we don't have total chaos. Despite the fact that there are people trying to produce this chaos, somehow, we still have some semblance of order here. How is that possible? God, perhaps? Perhaps God is more powerful than his adversary is. Perhaps he's in control. And perhaps we really don't need to worry. Here's my theory, all right? Things are getting better all the time. They really are. And so these small class of insane psychopaths are doing everything they can to convince you that the opposite is true. To convince you that things are getting worse all the time. Everything's falling apart. There's all these natural disasters, blah, 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 blah. Okay? And listen, if Revelation, as prophesied, is unfolding, that's God's doing. Okay? That's God eliminating evil, eliminating wickedness, and protecting the righteous. So if that's what's going on, and we are the righteous ones, we're living in righteous principles, we don't need to be afraid of it, you guys. We do not need to be afraid of it, because we will be protected from all of this. All right? We are led to the promised land. Okay? It's been promised to us. The kingdom of heaven is what we shall inherit if we continue to stay obedient and righteous and humble and putting God first, which means fearing nothing other than God's judgment, which means God's judgment. We're not fearing the way that God's going to judge the wicked, because look, that's already happening, and it's going to continue to happen. Evil contains the seeds of its own destruction, you guys. These people are destroying themselves. And the people that have harmed you along the way are also in self-destruct mode. So we don't need to worry about it. Vengeance is the Lord's, all right? We're not here to exact vengeance. That's God's job. We're here to spread love, to spread joy, to serve our fellows freely without any expectation of return. All right, it says somewhere in Galatians, I don't know the exact verse, but when we continue to do good works, we understand that the harvest is going to come. We don't worry about that. We just keep planting seeds. We just keep doing righteous things. And then the harvest comes, right? You just trust in that and you're patient. That's all we got to do here, you guys. So I suspect things are going to continue to get weirder on a certain level, like in the Matrix, because I'll tell you what, the Matrix is falling apart. God's judgment is coming. I mean, it's here already, but it's going to continue. And basically this Matrix, this simulation, these wicked ones, this is all getting dismantled. And what the adversary, what the devil is going to try and do here is take credit. So when certain things happen, certain literal, actual, natural events happen that are God's doing, the adversary is going to try and take credit for it. He's going to try and infect the truther community, the patriot community, the conspiracy community, whatever. He's going to try and convince them that actually what's happening is the government's making all this stuff happen. And you should be so scared because they're so powerful. They're so powerful that they can fake the moon landing. They're so powerful that they could make fake weather and make chemicals and you know what towers that are going to fry your brain and all this. They just want you to be scared. But if you're not scared, if you are living in truth and righteousness and faith, you are joyful, if you are embodying the fruits of the Spirit, man, none of this stuff can touch you. None of it. Y'all, I'm telling you, I put this on everything. All right? We have nothing to fear. All right? I really felt like I needed to share that message with you guys. So let's stay positive, have visions, have goals, think long term. Like, think as if this is not the end. It might be the end for certain people, but it's just the beginning for people like us, you guys. We're going up. Things are getting better. And that's facts, all right? So peace.